Okay, welcome back to another episode of Baskets Galore's. I think this is season two. Mm-hmm. And we're looking at this season is about looking at our objectives as a small business towards what we wanted to achieve by a set period of time. And the set period of time here is the marketing plan, which was planned out in 2022. So we're coming up to the end point of our marketing plan, and we're just re-examining our objectives in terms of what we wanted to achieve. This is objective 3, which is moving towards content management automation. And I'm joined by Ellen, who is the developer, I would say, of the BG Scribe Writer, which is a ChatGPT, or it's like our own sort of...
It is a GPT.
But it's an LLM derivative of that, which we have trained over, I don't know, 2-3 year directly. Mm-hmm. From your, taking on the original stacked silo documentation and whatever, and choreographing it and organizing it and questioning it. So it's a year in development. It's called BG Scribe Writer, and we're here to discuss in this little video here. We're saying that time's up really in terms of the application of formulae in preparation for AI. Let's move very swiftly towards the defining of what those formulae are in terms of prompts, and developing a starting agent upon which future agentic development plays off, rather than basing it entirely on humanities thinking. So the first question that I'm going to ask you, Ellen, is we've been talking about blogs here, and obviously we have sort of maxed out on them in terms of what you can write humanly. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to generating them, the BG Scribe Writer that we've developed over the past year, 2 years, how does it differ from any other ordinary GPT that you can plug into?
Yeah. So what makes BG Scribe different? So when we started doing the blogs using AI, we went down the route of prompt engineering, which is kind of what everyone starts with. So we had come up with a range of between 25 and 29 prompts that we would run through, and I had refined them to basically give us out the perfect blog, exactly what we're looking for. It included everything that we were after, the testimonials, the products. But the problem with this was that you were having to go through and put in all 26 to 29 of these prompts every time you wanted a blog. And at the start, it was brilliant because it was still taking less time than it would to write a blog yourself. You're still saving time. But the more you used it, the more kind of just labor intensive that it was. It was taking up time. And also the results just kind of weren't great. They were kind of unpredictable. Sometimes it would be brilliant. Sometimes it would be not so much. The more that you used it, it would kind of get better, and then it would kind of peak and then just fall off, and it would just be terrible. So after using this for a while, we just were finding that more and more human editing was having to go into it. Which then at the end of things, it was basically, well, we should just write the blogs ourselves. We're not saving too much time and energy with this anymore at all. So after doing that and realizing it's kind of failure, after having such a high at the start, thinking brilliant, we solved it, and then it just falls off. So it was like, right, okay, what else can we do? So after looking into it and stuff and seeing what kind of other options would be, I decided to go down the route of creating my own GPT. So this is obviously within ChatGPT still, same system. Mm-hmm. But obviously ChatGPT, you can ask it anything, it'll do anything, it's so broad. Whereas if you make your own GPT, you can kind of refine it, ring fence it, bring it in so it's focused on the one thing.
The ChatGPT that you're talking about, is that just for point of reference in terms of a time chronology and whatever, would that be ChatGPT 3?
Whenever we started using it, it would have been 3, and then it went to 3.5, and then it went to 4. We definitely found that the difference between 3 and 4 was very, very much so, very vast. But still, with the way that we were doing it, we still were getting unpredictable results, and we needed a new way to do things. So whenever I decided to do this GBT, I had created system prompt for it. So obviously you don't do this on normal ChatGPT. This is all done already. This is all set up. Whereas if you make your own GPT, you then make your own system instructions. So I'd kind of researched the best way to do this, tried out a few different ways. Then the first draft that put it in, it's fine, it's working, it's still not great. It's very similar to just the results we were getting on normal ChatGPT itself. But the more that I kind of refined it and the more that I put in, I ended up making the system instructions were, I think, nearly 4 pages long as a Microsoft Word document. They were very detailed. So instead of doing prompting and doing the 26 prompts, basically feeding in all of that into the system instructions and using that as the main point of reference. So then when you're using it, the prompts that you're doing it to get the blog are minimal. It's basically just, it's asking you, do you want this? Yes. Do you want that? No.
Essentially what you're at is that what was developed last year was essentially like a light agent in many ways, where now you see the discussion at the forefront of the technology is about an agent asking another agent to gain that awareness. So really what we've done is, from seeing the writing on the wall in terms of marketing, AI agents and stuff, whatever, is that we've burrowed down probably to a very specific, exact set of micro agents. Would that be what you would say the system prompts essentially became?
Maybe to an extent. The system prompts, basically, the way that I did it, I found the best way to do it was to give it headings and sections instead of just, okay, do this, do that, do this, and giving it a whole list. Using sections, and if you use hashtags as headers, it sees that as a header and doesn't read it as a prompt in itself. So I had a few different ones in there with different things. And I just kind of refined it. If I ran it through, asked it to create a blog, if it wasn't giving me the output, I'd look, right, okay, what's the issue? What's it missing? What's it maybe doing too much of? Then go back into the system prompt or system instructions and change things, refine things there until it's basically got the perfect blog. And what's interesting as well is that I don't let it access the internet. It can't scrape. So I've uploaded knowledge to it and given it obviously the instructions, so it can only think for itself. It can't scrape from the internet.
That is very, very interesting, because you see conventional wisdom now telling people, doing an HTTP request to scrape internet. Even whenever I bring in new people into here, the first thing that they do is they originate ideas, iteration from news authorities, and they've had to be told, don't do that, because it contaminates the core work that you're actually doing in here. At what point did you realize that bringing in scraping would be problematic?
Well, I basically had it off from the start. One of the first or second drafts, I had it off because we wanted to create the blog kind of generator writer to be writing in our own voice, our own tone, keeping within the brand, keeping within the company. So in its knowledge bank, I have uploaded a few of our pillar blogs or foundation blogs. They're really good examples. And then it would look at this and it would then try to copy that, like the formatting of that, the wording, the tone, the brand identity. And that's where it's kind of got its learning, and that's how it writes the blogs, rather than giving it a topic and it going scraping the whole internet and bringing back things that just aren't relevant. Things that it may say, oh, we've got this in a basket and this in a basket. No, we don't. So keep it refined, keep it within our own kind of little
Don't let
area.
it go off and tell lies. Don't let it. There was all that talk of hallucination and all that type of stuff. It's gone sort of quiet about that. But that was really it. It was just programming in the wrong sort of generic responses to it, wasn't it? So that's interesting, because that's what I say to a lot of the small business people that I, network with or talk to. And I say, look, they're talking about AI and what's coming and whatever. And I say, look, you've got to take personal possession of your own agency, whatever you want your business to be, the beautiful things about your business, why you're in business, all those types of stuff. Take personal agency from it. Otherwise, it will run away from you, and it won't be your business anymore. It'll get further and further, and you become more disenfranchised from your business. So, not letting it scrape from the internet. Eventually, of course, that's where AI is going, isn't it? Yeah. But you want your own agents to be strong enough and confident enough and comfortable enough to be able to make the decision on what adds value to them, rather than automatically assuming that there must be value to be added elsewhere.
Yeah, and people may assume that if you're not letting it access the internet, then how is it going to have like an updated response or whatever? Very easy. Just give it new knowledge in its knowledge bank. Just upload that to it. That's all it needs. If you give it everything on the internet, you're not going to get a refined result. Yes. You want to tunnel vision it and give it only the things it needs so it can work within its own area in that way. If you've got a new product, if something else new's come in that you want it to bring into the blogs, upload it in the knowledge. Don't give it access to the internet to take from everywhere, because there's no point. It may bring in good, but it'll also bring in bad and irrelevant.
So this actually is contrary to a lot. Like currently in the news, it's like in the UK, the Lords rejected, House of Lords rejected the 5th reading of the government for copyright infringement to give AI companies access to the creative industries. Kind of interesting based upon what you're saying there. Are they right to deny those AI companies access to the creative industries? In other words, can AI be developed without access to copyrighted material?
I think definitely. If we're doing it, why can't others? We're only giving this GPT our own information, our own IP, things that we own, things that we have written, things that we have gained as a company, like our testimonials, products, all of our own products that we have made. We're giving it all of that. So if we can do it, why can't others?
Yeah. I think that's what makes it kind of sad that Europe doesn't have its own cloud capital, because it would be the continent that would be probably best positioned to be able to understand and actually do this, because it has a history of governance and confederation of lots of micro states and whatever. But that's a question. That's a philosophical question. We've got to keep on topic here to the content management.